Feeling overwhelmed by the news? Well, there's a reason. It's been statistically proven that bad news sells better than good news. So every news channel and news website and newspaper fights for your attention by telling you everything that's wrong in the world. And then your phone gives you a red push notification with an alarm that something alarming is happening on your news feed. And your survival instinct won't let you ignore this red alert, so you pick up your phone, you open it up, and you see what the breaking news is. Newsflash. It's bad. And all of this bad news leads to this feeling of news fatigue. We have anger and depression and numbness and anxiety like never before because we've never had access to this much news before. We've moved past the information age and we've fallen headfirst into the information overload age. But what's the alternative? Bury your head in the sand and pretend that the news doesn't exist? I mean, sure, ignorance is bliss, but at some point it's irresponsible to ignore what's going on in the world because you feel a responsibility to do something about it. I mean, you should care. But there's good news, because there's something that you and I can do about this information overload and news fatigue, but it comes from a really unlikely source: Jesus. Hang with me here, but here's how. On more than one occasion, Jesus is feeling information overload and news fatigue from everything that's going on around him. In one of his biographies, written by a follower who is on the scene to see all the breaking news happen in real time, he says that Jesus was in a town. And that evening, after sunset, the people brought Jesus all the sick and demon-possessed. And the whole town gathered at the door, and Jesus healed many who had various diseases. And this goes on and on and on, well into the night. And I know he's Jesus, but the brain can only engage for so long before compassion fatigue and news fatigue sets in. So what does Jesus do? Well, in the very next verse it says, "Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed."
I don't know what you think about God and what words you would use to describe him, but when Jesus described him, he used words like good, loving, peaceful, kind. And wouldn't you love to use those same words to describe yourself? And so when Jesus got a way to connect with God, it wasn't just to, escape everything. It was to connect into his entire character. And again, this wasn't escapism. And in fact, in the very next verse, it says that his disciples went to look for him. And when they found him, they said, "Everyone is looking for you." But Jesus, with this refreshed spirit because of this time he spent connecting with God, replied, "Let us go to the nearby villages, to more villages, for that is why I came." Meaning he doesn't just go away to connect with God to escape the bad news. He goes away to connect with God so he can keep on doing something about it. And the takeaway for you and me is simple. Turn off the news. Unplug. Not to just go for a walk or to work on a DIY project. No, disconnect so you can connect to God and prayer. And then see what happens next. See how it changes the way you approach the day. And whatever it is, I'm sure it's good news.